Welcome to enlightened wisdom, beloved souls. They came at you with everything they had, expecting chaos, expecting you to break under the weight of their manipulation. They believed their mind games, deceit, and calculated attempts to shatter you would send you spiraling. But instead of meeting their energy with fire, you responded with something far more terrifying to them. Silence. You didn't beg, you didn't react, and you didn't even acknowledge their desperate attempts to shake you. And that shattered them. Your calm became a language they couldn't comprehend, yet couldn't ignore. Your maturity was a force they never saw coming. And now they are the ones drowning in the aftermath, haunted by the realization that they never had power over you to begin with. They are obsessed, unraveling, and fixated on you because you did the one thing they never expected. You turned their games into your victory. And now, you are all they can think about. They set the trap, waiting, watching, expecting you to fall right into it. They baited you with insults, twisted your words, and stirred chaos just to see if you'd crack under pressure. Every move was designed to provoke you, to pull you into their drama, to make you react. Because if you reacted, they could twist the narrative. If you fought back, they could play the victim. They needed you to snap, to break, to prove them right. But you didn't. You stayed still, watching their tantrums unfold like a spectator at a show you had no interest in. You didn't explain yourself, argue, or justify your silence. You just moved. Moved in silence. Moved with grace. Moved forward. And now they don't know what to do. Their entire plan hinged on your reaction. But you gave them nothing. No emotional outburst. No desperate attempt to prove yourself. No chasing. Just absence. And that absence is deafening. For the first time, they are left alone with their own chaos. No one to manipulate, no one to control, no one to blame. Just them, drowning in the mess they created. Now, the panic sets in. Because the moment they lost control over your emotions, they lost control over you. And without control, they have nothing. Something has shifted, and they can feel it. And the power they once had? Gone. They fed off the emotional supply you unknowingly gave them, but now that supply has been cut off completely, and they are starving. At first, they convinced themselves they didn't care. They put on a show for the world, acting unbothered, laughing louder, posting more, surrounding themselves with distractions. But it was all a cover-up, a mask to hide the panic creeping in. Because the truth is suffocating them. They need you. Your kindness was their comfort. Your energy was their drug. Your attention was their oxygen. And now that it's gone, they are left gasping for air. No matter where they turn, they can't find what you once gave them. That's when the withdrawal sets in. Late-night thoughts, creeping regret, the crushing realization that they underestimated you. They assumed you would always be there, always giving, always available. They thought you needed them, but they were wrong. You walked away, and the silence you left behind is deafening. And the worst part? Watching you thrive without them is its own kind of karma. Because you're not just gone. You're glowing. You're elevating. You're rising in ways they never expected. And nothing is more haunting than seeing the one they tried to break become untouchable. Now, you're all they can think about. Now, they miss you. Now, they finally see your worth. Now, they are realizing what they lost. But don't be fooled. This isn't love. This isn't growth. This is panic. It starts small. A random like on your post, a meaningless, "How have you been?" message. A mutual friend suddenly reaching out. Subtle, calculated moves to test the waters, to see if you're still accessible. But make no mistake. This isn't about making things right. This is about control. They don't like that you're unbothered. They don't like that you've moved on. They don't like that you've taken your power back, and now their ego is screaming. Because if you're truly done with them, if you've really closed the door, then they have to face something they never wanted to admit. They lost. And that realization is eating them alive. So they plot, they manipulate, they come up with excuses to re-enter your life. Maybe they play the victim, pretending they've changed. Maybe they stir up drama, hoping to force a reaction. Maybe they suddenly need closure when in reality they just need a way back in. But here's the truth. If they truly valued you, they never would have put you in a position to walk away in the first place. And just because they regret losing you doesn't mean they've changed. This is a test, a trap, a cycle waiting to repeat itself. And the question is, will you fall for it? Your growth has exposed them. The distance you created, the silence you maintained, the self-respect you reclaimed, it all speaks louder than any words ever could. It's all working against them now. They never expected you to actually walk away. They never thought you'd rise without them. But here you are, untouchable, out of reach, moving in a way they can't predict or control. And now, their true colors are showing. For so long, they painted you as the problem. They convinced themselves, and maybe even others, that you were the unstable one, the overreactor, the one who could never let things go. They made you out to be too sensitive, too emotional, too much. And for a while, they believed their own lies. But now that you're gone, something feels off. The chaos is still there. The same patterns, the same toxic cycles, the same destructive behaviors. They didn't leave with you. And now that they no longer have you as their scapegoat, they're being forced to confront something they never wanted to admit. It was never you, it was always them. And that realization? It's unbearable. They don't want to believe it. They don't want to sit with the fact that they were the problem all along. So instead, they lash out. They scramble to rewrite the narrative. They talk about you more than they should, throwing your name into conversations that have nothing to do with you. They reach out to mutual connections, subtly fishing for information, trying to figure out how you're doing, if you still care, if you're still thinking about them. Because the truth is, they can't handle the idea that you're truly over it. And the more you win in silence, the more they unravel. Your growth, your evolution, your ability to move forward without them. It's like a mirror forcing them to see themselves clearly for the first time. And they don't like what they see. They don't like knowing that you were never the one holding them back. In fact, you were the only thing keeping them afloat. And now they're sinking. The people around them are starting to notice the cracks. The same friends, family members, and bystanders who once believed their version of events are beginning to see the truth. Without you to carry the blame, the deception no longer holds up. Their lies are falling apart. Their inconsistencies are catching up to them. And worst of all, they know it. They feel the shift. They feel the weight of their own actions crashing down on them. They feel the loss of your presence in ways they never imagined. But you don't even have to lift a finger. You don't have to expose them, seek revenge, or force people to see the truth. Their own actions are doing that for you. Now the tables have turned, and they feel it. The one they tried to discard is the one they can't stop thinking about. The one they assumed would beg is the one who walked away without looking back. And the power they once had? It's crumbling right in front of them. Now they're the ones obsessing, watching, stalking, searching for anything that makes them feel connected to you again. But nothing works. They replay old conversations, trying to figure out where they lost you. They check your social media, hoping to see signs of struggle, but all they find is someone who looks happier without them. And that's the part that hurts the most. Because they expected you to suffer. They thought walking away would break you. They believed they had that much control, but instead you elevated, you became untouchable, and now they're the ones falling apart. The addiction is real. They crave your energy, your attention, your presence. But the supply? It's gone. And without it, they have nothing. They're restless, agitated, lost. Nothing feels the same anymore. No distraction is strong enough. No new person fills the void. Because deep down they know what they had with you was rare. And that's just the beginning of their downfall. Karma doesn't forget. The ones who thought they could replace you are now facing their own emptiness. The ones who took you for granted are now drowning in regret. The emotional supply they once relied on? Gone. The financial control they tried to use against you? Shattered. They thought you'd struggle without them, assumed you'd come crawling back. But instead, you elevated. You made moves they never expected. And now they're the ones struggling to keep up. Your independence terrifies them. Every step you take without them is a reminder that they were never as important as they believed. Every win you achieve without their help is proof that they had no real power over you. And every time they see you thriving, something inside them twists. Jealousy, regret, disbelief. because they tried to break you, but all they did was set you free. And now, they can't stand it. They watch in silence, hoping for signs of failure, searching for cracks in your happiness, praying you'll slip. But all they find is someone who has stepped into a new level of abundance, new connections, new opportunities, new blessings. And the more you grow, the more they shrink. Nothing eats them alive more than seeing you become everything they tried to convince you that you couldn't be. Now the jealousy is real, but they won't admit it. They'll act unbothered, pretend they don't care. But their actions tell the truth. They're watching, they're bitter. And deep down, they know they lost someone they will never replace. Drop a comment. The door is closed forever if you refuse to let them back in, because you are the thought they can't escape. Morning, night, and every moment in between. No matter how much they try to suppress it, your presence lingers, like a song stuck in their head, like a ghost they can't outrun it. No matter how much they try to distract themselves, your absence lingers like a shadow they can't shake. They scroll through their phone, hovering over your name, their fingers hesitating over the keyboard, typing messages they'll never send. The words seem empty now. Nothing they say can undo what's been done. So instead, they sit in silence, drowning in their own thoughts, replaying every moment, every conversation, every choice that led to this. They dissect every misstep, every word they took for granted, trying to pinpoint the exact moment they lost you. But deep down, they already know. Losing you wasn't a single moment. It was a series of choices, a pattern of neglect and arrogance that convinced them you'd always be there. And now, they can't move on, not because they don't want to, but because they can't find anything or anyone that replaces what you gave them. They've tried, they've tried. They've surrounded themselves with distractions, jumped into meaningless connections, drowned themselves in temporary highs. But no matter where they turn, they keep hitting the same wall. No one else is you. Your energy was different, your presence was rare. Your love was something they never fully understood until it was gone. And now, the withdrawal is unbearable. It's a slow, gnawing ache that doesn't go away, a hollowness that no substitute can fill. They thought they could replace you, but all they've found is emptiness. They expected you to be the one who struggled. They assumed you'd be the one reaching out, desperate to fix what was broken, desperate to reclaim what was lost. They were certain you'd come running back, begging for another chance. But instead, they're the ones falling apart. They're the ones spiraling. Nothing feels right. The highs don't last. The distractions aren't strong enough. The new faces all blur together, none of them carrying the warmth, the depth, the soul that you did. Because what they had with you wasn't ordinary. It wasn't something they could just replicate or replace. It was a once-in-a-lifetime connection. And now? That realization is haunting them. They may never say it out loud. They may never admit it to anyone, not even to themselves. But their actions betray them. The late-night stalking, the sudden accidental likes on your posts, the random check-ins from mutual friends who just happen to ask about you, the forced smiles when your name comes up, the bitter silence when they realize you've moved on. Every time they hear about you, see you, or even think of you, it stings. Because what they once took for granted has now become their greatest regret. And they hate that they still want you, they hate that they still care, they hate that after everything, after all their games, after all the times they convinced themselves you didn't matter, here they are, unable to escape you. But you? You've already let them go. This was never just a loss. It was a lesson. And you learned. You didn't just walk away. You evolved. You didn't just heal. You ascended. You outgrew what was never meant for you. You stepped into your power, into your purpose, into your peace, and that's what haunts them the most. Not just that you left, but that you flourished without them. Because this wasn't rejection. This was redirection. God saw what you couldn't. He saw the deception, the hidden motives, the weight that was silently holding you back. He saw the burdens you were carrying, the love you were pouring into a bottomless void. And when you wouldn't let go, He made sure they let go of you. Not as punishment, but as protection, because you were never meant to stay in places that drained you. You were never meant to pour endlessly into people who only took. You were never meant to dim your light just to make others comfortable in their darkness. And the moment you stopped chasing what was never meant for you, your blessings started chasing you. That peace you feel now, that's divine alignment. The doors opening for you, that's God's favor. The opportunities flowing your way, that's just the beginning. They wanted to break you, but all they did was set you free. And now, they can't stop watching. They can't stop wondering. They can't stop missing you. Because they lost you, and this time, you're never coming back. They are a reflection of the growth you've stepped into. And while you rise, they struggle. Not because you wished them harm, not because you sought revenge, but because they are now forced to sit in the very energy they put out. Every lie they told, every manipulation they played, every attempt to keep you small, it has all come back full circle. They now have to watch you receive everything they tried to block, and that is their real punishment. They thought they were teaching you a lesson by walking away. They thought their absence would weaken you, that their rejection would break you. But instead, God used it to teach them one. Because when you are chosen, when you are aligned, when you are protected, nothing they do can stop what's meant for you. That is why you keep winning. That is why you keep elevating. They wanted you to lose. They wanted you to suffer. They wanted to be the reason you failed. But instead, you became their biggest nightmare. Someone who didn't just survive without them, but thrived. Someone they can no longer reach. Someone they can no longer affect. And now the jealousy is eating them alive. They see you winning. They see you glowing. They see doors opening for you that they never thought you'd walk through. And it burns. Because every success you achieve is a reminder of the power you always had, a power they tried to convince you didn't exist. They spent so much time trying to dim your light, but now all they can do is watch as you shine brighter than ever. So they pretend not to care. They act unbothered. They tell themselves they've moved on. But the truth? They're watching, checking up on you, listening when your name comes up, secretly hoping for any sign that you're struggling, searching for any crack in your happiness, but no matter how hard they look, all they find is proof that they lost someone irreplaceable. And that realization? It's suffocating them, because their plans backfired. They thought discarding you would break you. They thought turning others against you would isolate you. They thought their absence would leave you empty. But instead, everything they did to destroy you only set you free. Every attempt to weaken you only made you stronger. Every setback they tried to create became the foundation for your comeback. And now they are the ones drowning. They sit in regret. Regret that they didn't appreciate you when they had the chance. Regret that they played games instead of valuing something real. Regret that they let their pride, their ego, their immaturity push away the one person who truly cared. And the worst part? There's no going back. Because you've outgrown them, you've evolved into someone who no longer fits into the space they once occupied. And now they have to live with the fact that they will never get another version of you. That is their real punishment. And you owe them nothing. Not a second chance. Not an explanation, not another moment of your time, because the person they betrayed no longer exists. The version of you that tolerated their games, excused their lies, and overlooked their disrespect. Gone. And what's left? Someone they can never touch again. They can't manipulate someone they can't control. They can't deceive someone who knows their worth. And that terrifies them. Because once you see them for who they truly are, once you recognize the patterns, once you break free from their influence, they lose all power over you. They will try to pull you back, not because they love you, not because they've changed, but because they can't stand to see you free. They can't accept that you've outgrown them, that their absence didn't break you, that their control over you was never real. It was always an illusion. But this is where you break the cycle. They were a lesson, not a life sentence. Their presence in your past does not mean they deserve a place in your future. The pain they caused does not mean they deserve another chance. Because you don't go back to what broke you. You don't reopen doors that God has closed. You don't entertain people who only miss you because they lost control. Your growth intimidates them. Your silence torments them. Your elevation exposes them. And that is why you must keep moving forward. Because the moment you look back, you risk slipping into the very chaos you fought to escape. The moment you entertain their games, you slow down your own progress. The moment you let them back in, you prove them right, that you were never really gone, but this time you are gone. They can't reach you anymore. They have to sit with their loss, sit with the reality that you're not coming back, sit with the weight of their own choices, the consequences of their own actions, the silence they never expected. And you? You keep rising, because the only way to truly win is to never go back. It's over, and they know it. They lost access to you, they lost control over you, they lost the one thing they never thought they'd lose, you. And now they have to live with that reality. Your silence is louder than any argument. Your success is the revenge you never had to seek. Your elevation is proof that they never had power over you to begin with. And that's why they're still watching, still obsessing, still holding on to something that no longer exists. Because deep down, they know they fumbled someone irreplaceable, but you've already won. You walked away with your peace, your dignity, and the life they swore you'd never have without them. And that is what will haunt them forever. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlightened Wisdom.